All right, what's happening, guys? Welcome back. Welcome back. We are going to go full pull retard levels for this podcast segment. We're going to make a ton of excuses for Alex Pereira, why he lost, why he's coming back to win that belt again. Just kidding. We're not going to do that. We're going to realistically talk about whether or not he can come back and win a belt again. Briefly talk about what went wrong in the fight against Ankalaev, because I already did a recap video. I want to objectively, as non-biased as possible, talk about the odds, the chances he has of becoming champion again. Actually, to be honest with you, it's almost 50-50 at this point because he is going to rematch Magomed Ankalaev. So mathematically speaking, it's 50-50. It's not like he's climbing back up the ladder. Either way, diving into this, let's talk about his age. So Alex Pereira is 37 years old. Everybody's physiology is different. Everybody ages at different rates. Everyone has a different prime as far as sports. You have like general windows, of course. Nobody who's like 55, 60 years old is going to be in their prime, regardless of the sport. You do have some sports, though, that you can peak at like way later ages. And it's kind of insane. Like arm wrestling is one of them. That's like a lifelong sport that even in the later stages in your life, you could be really competitive and even dominant. But as a whole, when you get older, you slow down, you're just not the same physically, and you're not anywhere near your prime. Alex Pereira being 37 years old with his genetics, being Brazilian, Amazonian descent, I still think he's pretty close to his physical prime. I think the decline is probably negligible right now. That might not be the same if the guy hits 40 years old and he's still competing. Because at some point, I mean, you do slow down. Sometimes it almost happens overnight where like the guy is really good. He's explosive. He's fast. He has it together. And then like by the next fight, like something is off. Timing's off, slower, not as explosive. And I know I've seen that happen many times with different competitors and fighters throughout the years. So is time on Alex's side? I mean, not really. He is 37. He's closing in on 40. But I still think he has at least a couple of good years of like solid competitiveness in him where his physicality is not really going to be affected at an extreme level. Now, the mental game that's a whole other conversation we could dive into. Some people have theorized, like even leading up to the Magomed Ankalaev fight, that the champion's lifestyle, you know, the constant interviews, flying here, flying there, the meetings and all the hoopla of, you know, having money, being famous, being a champion. People think that affected him leading up to the fight. And I saw Alex, you know, he responded in interviews saying that he's humble, he's going to stay grounded. And I think that is the case. I think he's a pretty humble guy. He's not that much different than when he was, quote, poor. But as far as like the lifestyle, I mean, it's clearly different. He's driving around in what, Lambos. He can buy whatever he wants. He has a lot of people around him, it seems. When I say that, I don't mean like his close circle. I just think he's, you know, being pulled in different directions and quite possibly not bunkering down, isolating himself like a savage, how he used to do when he first started combat sports. That may have affected him. I mean, if he had 1000% focus, blocked out all the distractions, locked himself away somewhere and just trained his butt off for like 2-3 months, we might have seen a different outcome to the fight. Now, that's not taken away from Magomed Ankalaev. The guy had an answer to Poatan. The mystique, the aura, to some extent, has been cracked. He didn't get flatlined. He didn't get absolutely dominated. But now, you know, there's like a clear path to beating Alex Pereira. When Izzy knocked him out, that's just a knockout, man. I mean, that can happen to anybody. Izzy was playing possum. He was against the cage. He uncorked a crazy right hand. If I'm not mistaken, it was a right. And just shut, you know, Alex's lights out with a follow-up combination. So you get way more data and information from a long dragged out fight. And we saw Ankalaev employ a strategy that neutralized what Alex Pereira does. Part of that is Ankalaev's, you know, attributes, his physical attributes, his skills, and his strategy. All of that combined got him to win. It's not like everybody could do that to Alex. Only a few people in the division could. Ankalaev proved that he could. But you got guys out there that could possibly, employ the same strategy. Like there was some talk about Alex fighting DDP. DDP's a pretty aggressive, strong, durable dude. And if he mixed in striking and grappling, I mean, maybe he could have success like Ankalaev if they fought at light heavyweight. You can't say it's impossible. My money would still be on Alex, but if DDP took a page out of Ankalaev's book, you never know. He could win a decision if he's effective in the fight. So other people are, they're watching that fight and they're probably thinking like, yeah, I could do that to Alex. Easier said than done, of course. I think with this rematch, we're going to see a better version of Alex Pereira. And on the flip side, to be fair, we might see a better version of Magomed Ankalaev, because one side of the coin, Alex Pereira doesn't have more confidence knowing that he stuffed 11 takedowns and got a takedown of his own. So in the rematch, he may open up a lot more on the feet. And then Ankalaev, maybe he came into this fight, I wouldn't say having fear, but concerns of Alex's power, his striking. It's like this guy's a monster. He just starches everyone. But Ankalaev didn't get starched. He actually fought him to decision. He rocked Alex. In many instances, he got the better of the striking. Part of that had to do with Ankalaev's, grappling ability, the threat of the clinching and the takedowns. That does affect a striker in mixed martial arts, no doubt. But yeah, Ankalaev could come into the rematch even more confident, knowing hey, I already fought this dude and he didn't put me out. And I got the better of quite a few of those striking exchanges, even rocking him and almost putting him out. So it's going to be an interesting rematch. Do I think Alex Pereira can beat Magomed Ankalaev? Oh yeah, 100%. I still put the fight at 50-50. That's pretty much where I had the first matchup. It wasn't a shocker to me that Magomed Ankalaev won. I thought Alex was going to pull it off, but it always was a close fight to me. So yeah, Alex can go in there and I think he can win in dominant fashion, where people, their jaws would be dropped like, holy crap, this dude, he still got it. And Magomed Ankalaev could go in there and he could actually dominate Alex. So the rematch, to me, for the record, I think it's about 50-50. Now, on a personal note, further opinions, do I think Alex Pereira still has that fire to compete, to, reach the top, be at the top of the mountain, be the king, and defend that belt many, many times, and also he had aspirations to go to heavyweight. That's definitely on pause for now. Some of the luster of the John Jones fight, or I should say a lot of the luster of the John Jones fight, that just poof went away. Because after seeing that Magomed Ankalaev fight, I'm really convinced that John Jones would just get a hold of Poatan and pretty much abuse him in the grappling department. That is, if Alex doesn't catch him with something coming in. If it stays striking, of course, he always has a shot. I would definitely favor Alex in the striking department. But, if Ankalaev had him worried of the takedown in the clinch game, and that affected his striking, I mean, definitely John Jones would have him concerned and worried. But for the record, I mean, definitely would favor John Jones over Alex Pereira big time. So, kind of in closing right now, to get to the point, to reiterate certain things again, do I think Alex Pereira still has it? Yes, I do. I thought he was a little bit gun shy due to Ankalaev's skill set, not because it was a physical thing. I think part of it had to do with his mindset. If he comes into the rematch blah, doesn't come in with that killer instinct, with that fire, the same thing's going to happen again, probably worse. But if he activates that savage mode that he has inside of him, that stoic, killer vibe and aura mentality, yeah, he could win the fight in dominant fashion with some adjustments. He definitely has the takedown defense to keep it on the feet. And I think, pound for pound, skill for skill, I do think Alex is more talented on the feet. At 37, realistically, how many more years are we going to see Alex Pereira fight? I mean, who knows? This could be his last year. You never know. Or he could compete for another 2 or 3. I'm eagerly awaiting for the rematch to be officially announced. We're going to see where he's at in the next fight. Now, if he loses to Ankalaev again, and if he wants to continue fighting, maybe that's the time that he's going to go to heavyweight or just retire. The man has done a ton in the short time he's been in mixed martial arts. I mean, it's pretty phenomenal. You're seeing some people out there, I don't know if they're trolling. I don't know if they're short on brain cells, but they're calling Alex Pereira overrated and that he was, quote, exposed. He wasn't exposed, man. He lost the fight against a guy that was on an 11 fight win streak with a specific skill set that negated a lot of the things he does. Styles make fights. I mean, that's it. Got to give credit where credit is due. Ankalaev is good. He knows how to win. But to imply that Alex Pereira is overrated, that's just crazy, man. To me, the guy is one of the best combat athletes we've ever seen. And yes, his skill set is somewhat limited. He's semi one-dimensional. He's mostly a striker. But at this point, he has good defensive wrestling. He has developed some skill overall that he's a legit mixed martial artist. He's just mostly exceptional in one area, that's the striking. Even still, I mean, one of the best to ever do it, in my opinion. To do what he did in Glory and then to, you know, come to the UFC, mixed martial arts, and do what he's done in this sport, wow, legendary stuff. 100% a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. But guys, let me know in the comment section, do you think Alex Pereira is ever going to hold gold around his waist again? Do you think he still has what it takes? Do you think he can beat Magomed Ankalaev with some adjustments? What are those adjustments in your opinion? I guess you could talk about the rematch, like who's going to win? Who do you think is going to win? I want to read all your comments. Really appreciate you guys listening or watching. This one was mostly an audio segment, something you guys could listen to or kill some time. Really appreciate the support as always. If you like the content, hit like, hit subscribe. Sharing also helps the podcast grow. Until next time, my friends, you all take care. Later.